Chopper has a pretty full life. Like
Yeah.
he goes home, he's never been in a cage, he's never been tied.
Hmm.
He's free to do whatever he wants to do.
Yeah. Dogs or cats?
Both.
Of course. Adopt or shop.
Adopt.
Okay. Hi there, and today on Legend Spotlight, I absolutely have someone who's going to touch your heart and who has touched many hearts with her efforts and also has turned a lot of heads with her work in terms of saving our paw friends, should I say, the pets that she's rescued. And we're going to go on a journey about how her work has inspired many out there and continue to do so. Without any further ado, let me introduce you to Shilpa. Hi, Shilpa.
Hi. Thank you for having me
Of
here.
course. Thank
Yeah.
you for the effort. Thank you.
And also for, having Chopper here. Yeah.
Of course. Chopper is the lovely Rottweiler. And we turned so many heads, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Right?
He
And
does have that effect on people.
oh yeah. So for the first time in the Panama, in the history of MTV, we had a dog here, and everybody from the security, you saw how they were like,
Yeah.
"Balik, and all of a sudden, okay. And we did. We will share the footage in the middle of the conversation. But Shilpa, thank you so much once again. And how are you today?
I'm good. It's yeah,
Definitely an
it's pretty,
experience.
yes.
Right, he goes. So today we'll be talking about a list of usual conversations that we'll be having.
Okay.
But first, tell me, who is Shilpa? How did she come? How did she come about this?
Wow. It's a pretty loaded question. I I am qualified in something completely different.
Okay.
But I think I think sometimes you just keep coming back to something, and for me, it was rescue, and it just got to a point where it was a little difficult to ignore the fact that my head was always on, you know, a rescue or some kind of issue that surrounded animals, and it just came to a point where I was like, I'm sitting here in office doing something else,
Uh,
but my head is
Somewhere else.
elsewhere. Yeah. And it was only fair to my workplace, and I think also to myself, that um
You
I
transitioned.
pursued, yeah,
Okay, so that was mainly
this.
your transition.
Yeah, that was about maybe 10 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, in terms of the pet rescue, should I call it pet rescue or dog rescue? Which one is it?
I mean, it's an animal rescue, I
Animal
guess.
rescue.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So we did speak off mic about how you rescued other species as well of animals.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the sort of thing where it's in life you
In life, yeah.
do. Yeah, it's
It's
not something you go out and do.
it's a
Yeah.
living thing, so
Yeah.
you have to. So my next question was, you actually answered my future question as well, which is
Sorry.
when no, no, that's totally fine. So when did you decide to move from working elsewhere to serving this as a purpose? I think you answered that question by saying your heart is elsewhere when you work.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it makes all the more sense. Right. So from moving across from that question, we'll speak about the reality of rescue work a little bit. All right. What does your normal day actually look like for you being a rescuer?
Um,
Do you get a call?
so yeah, we have I have the rescue, but I live in a place where we also call it the sanctuary.
Sanctuary.
It's a very limited intake kind of thing, but it's the animals that basically we are not able to rescue to rehome through the rescue, sometimes stay with us. So my husband and I live with 19 dogs currently and 26 cats. So the day usually starts. I think our wake up is probably between 4:40 and 5 in the morning.
What?
With the Because we have about 15 of the dogs that sleep in our bedroom.
Okay.
So they need to start going out. They start waking up around then. They need to start going out. So that's kind of, we start with, getting them out into the garden. Getting the we do have a couple of really nice, like amazing staff members that live with us. So they start the process of, sorting out food for the animals and stuff in the morning while we do the ins and outs of, like getting them into the garden, making sure the vitamins and any kind of supplements and those things are done. And then is sort of when we start the day. So my husband works full time, so he goes off to work, and I start with, the different kind of requests that come from, say, the animal hospital asking us to send food or something like that. Because we also have in two separate hospitals, probably close to 10 to 12
Right.
animals who are receiving treatment currently. Right. So they have their individual needs, and I need to kind of make sure at the beginning of the day that I go through all of that, make sure their stuff's sorted. And then the rest of the day, sort of, unless I have something like this where I've kind of set aside time, it usually just sort of snowballs.
Right.
So a request can come in. I can end up just being at home coordinating,
Okay.
and being with the rescues. I may end up going to hospital. I may end up going like last week I was way down south trying to go pick up a dog. So it can happen, like anything can, it depends on how things come about, because you can't really predict.
Okay.
But our day, our day usually ends at about fairly early, like 8:39 at night. The dogs go to sleep, and then we can't do sound because then they start getting up and getting activated again. So yeah,
Goodness.
because the moment they hear something, like, because if one gets up and starts moving, everyone else will also start wondering what's happening, and so trying to get them back down to go to sleep takes time. So
Chain reaction.
yeah, so we start at 7:30. From 7:30 we start like slowly calming things down.
Okay, well, so for you to wake up at about, say, 4, what time do you usually go to sleep at?
9, 10, yeah, because we have several wake ups during the night as well, because depending on if anyone needs to go out. A lot of our dogs are seniors. Some of them have dementia, some of them are disabled, so sometimes there are things that we need to check on overnight. So we try to, yeah, get to sleep as early as possible, so that, because our wake up time is non-negotiable. Even if we come home at like 4 in the morning from an event or something, we still have to wake up at 5.
Makes
There's no, yeah.
Moving on from your day to being a rescuer full time, what's the best part about your job?
Oof. On days where you're tired, it's really hard to answer that one.
Are you tired today?
I am.
Oh my days.
We've had a lot of rescues back to back lately, so
Oh,
it's been a lot of, yeah, back and forth.
I thought it's today, like literally.
No. It's just kind of compounds over time.
Right. It's a compilation of a few days.
Yeah.
Hard work, okay.
But the best thing is really kind of seeing that change in the animal you rescue. Like it could be a dog, it could be a cat. You get a positive message that says, like their bloods have improved, or they're standing up today,
Oh,
or something like that.
improvements.
Like you feel like
Achieved.
you've done something. And also I think the change in people, because like quite frequently we'd get a message from someone saying, like, just before I got here, I was talking to another person who rescues, not frequently, but I think she does do quite a bit of work, and she had some issues with the rescue recently, and I've just been talking her through it lately. And today she was like, I actually managed to touch the dog. I managed to get the chain off the dog.
Oh,
And like, thank you for, talking me through this and that kind of thing. Like the change in people as well, and them understanding is also, it makes a big difference. Yeah. So that is definitely my change, really.
makes a lot of sense. Behavior in people on how you react to the
Yeah.
animal makes a massive change as well. I mean, I did see it today when you spoke to Chopper, right?
Chuffy. Yeah.
Choppy, right. Right. He responded to you. His eyes were locked onto you. You communicate in a different manner, in a different frequency to other people when like guests touched Choppy, right? He reacted differently. He was very friendly. But when you spoke, he was very firmly listening in. So I think reaction really does make a difference, and how you react to the pet, the dog.
Yeah. I mean, it's all body language, right? Like, I mean, we say voiceless, but they're not really voiceless. It's just we don't know how to communicate. Um, but also like their primary way of communicating with us, communicating with each other, with other dogs, with other cats is body language. So he really has it's not a surprise that he understands my body language. Like he's already figured that part out without me having to really, tell him about it. So he will always look to me as a general thing to see what he needs to do next, or and it's something that he's worked out himself. It's not something that I have had to. It's just that we have been out to so many different situations over his lifetime
Okay.
that he's just learned how to be around me and what works for him and what works for me.
Right.
Um, so yeah, it's all him. I mean, this is the first time that I've ever had a dog like him either. So
Oh,
yeah.
right. But once again, I think you'll have an overlay of Chopper as well as we speak along this. Gorgeous. And I think I saw Chopper before rescuing. So was it in one of your videos that you
No,
shared?
he was actually a little puppy. So we've had him for 6 years now.
Okay.
Yeah, so he was actually a little pup.
Then it's another
But
rescue ship.
we've had lots of Rottweilers, and they
Rottweilers.
all come in mostly.
Ill-shaped.
Yeah, and I think Rottweilers have a certain reputation that people, you either feed it or you don't.
Oh.
So there's that, as in not food per se, but like you have this idea of what a Rottweiler should be, and you sort of bring them up in that particular way. You keep feeding that one side of their personality, and you encourage that one thing.
Yeah.
And they sort of end up becoming that.
Yeah.
And I think with Chopper, it was just, it's different. Like when we go out, it's very different because people don't expect
Yeah.
the way he's
He's
like
a
for
golden
him to be.
retriever in a Rottweiler.
Yeah, it feels like that, but you should see him when he gets like, there are times when like a puppy or something could push him in another direction, and he has that in him, but
Okay.
he knows how to regulate himself.
Right.
And he knows that none of us are going to push him beyond a certain point because we know what his, like, we don't want him to be uncomfortable, and there's a mutual respect there. It's the same for him with me, I think, when we're out.
Okay.
He knows that when I call him, coming back to me is something that's, it doesn't stress me out as well, and that he's like, it's a mutual respect thing because he wants me to be happy and I want him to be happy.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes absolute sense. Beautiful stuff indeed. Right. So now we are transitioning to, of course, the whole purpose. Now, you rescue dogs, Shilpa, right? What puts them in this position is what we're going to focus on now. So, why? My question is, why do so many pets get abandoned and mistreated? Do you have a view on this?
It's We see it as a couple of different things, but I think here we have to also talk about the fact that a large portion of my experience is from Tales of Freedom, which we specifically work with dogs who've been used for breeding or like particular breeds, and then they've been abandoned.
Okay.
And I know a lot of people don't really think that happens. But it does because we get a lot of things saying, "Oh, it's a breed. Why do you even need to rescue it? Aren't they like at home and like on a couch somewhere, and aren't they happy?" And we're like, "No, it's not, and it's actually getting worse as time goes."
Yeah.
But yeah, so my experience has for the last 8 years been mainly breeds. Before that, I worked a lot with street animals, but I think we have a lot of organizations working with them now. So we kind of chose to kind of work in this. This was a gap in the work we do because we learned that sort of the way that breeds need to be rescued versus our local breeds it's slightly different.
Yeah.
The costs are different. The genetic conditions are different.
The diseases that they inherit is also.
Yeah, and they're like genetically generally quite it's weaker here because of the type of breeding and stuff that mostly happens. Not to say that there aren't good breeders here,
Yeah, but then again.
but it's we have a lot of backyard breeders and puppy mills here, which is a
Unlicensed.
different, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there are no licenses
Oh.
at all. Like in terms of a legal framework, there aren't any.
Okay, I didn't know
Um,
that.
we have the kennel clubs, which have their own set of rules about, and those have mostly to do with, the conditions that they need to be shown in, like the dog shows, those things.
Yeah.
But we don't really have a proper legal framework that's adequate for, how many times you breed an animal, where, at
Oh,
what ages, how often you breed, what kind of space you keep them in.
right.
You
Legal
don't pay,
standards.
yeah, you don't pay a license per dog. Like, you don't register a dog in terms of the breeding. You
Yes.
register a dog with I think, the council, but that's just a registration that says I have a dog. But you could have 50 dogs,
Right.
and you could be breeding them every cycle.
Oh,
You could be breeding them once. You could be breeding them, trying to breed them too young, too old. There's a lot of
yeah.
things that, yeah. So my experience, going back to the question you asked, is really that one is we have no regulations, like
No
I talked
regulations.
about, which really does, if they are brought in a proper way,
Mm.
it will take out, or it will at least stop certain people from doing, like, taking in an animal and breeding someone that they can't, because there's a lot of other things that go with breeding, like I said, genetic conditions. Like, Chopper has hip dysplasia, which comes a lot from breeding dogs that have this condition.
Oh, so it's passed on. Okay.
Yeah, so there is a genetic component to it. It's not all it is, but there is a genetic component to it.
Okay.
And a lot of the times we don't have here in Sri Lanka a way to really know in advance how that works. So it does tend to affect, like, at least, yeah, with in terms of a legal framework, there is that issue that we don't have one, basically.
Okay.
The other thing is
Ignorance.
responsible
There you go.
responsible pet ownership, where, like, we have seen people who mostly buy dogs or cats based on, so we work with companion animals, dogs, cats mainly. And a lot of people will, they will choose the TV that they want to buy
Yeah.
far more. They will research it, they will look at a picture of it, they will go read up on it. They will ask someone, okay, what is this TV like? But with a living being that they're probably going to have for 10 to 15 years, they don't always ask that question. Like, they will be like, my son, who is like 3 years old,
Yeah.
likes the look of a golden retriever.
Yeah.
So I am looking for a puppy to buy him. But it's not, gifting is one big issue that we have.
Yeah.
But it's also just on a whim. You don't understand that this puppy is going to grow old.
Yeah.
So you have to be there at the beginning of their life when they're cute, but also possibly towards the end of their life where they can't get up and they're maybe peeing in the house, or, like, they're having accidents, they're having all of those things, training, all of that. So all of that goes into responsible pet ownership. And I think just that idea of, we have had so many people who have, it's understandable sometimes for someone to say, I've had this dog for 4 years and I've had to move abroad. Um, and I'm trying my best to find, like, a friend or someone to look. But that we have, it's easier for us to understand that now, because we have had people who have been like, bought a puppy last month, now I have to move abroad. We're just looking for a home to give this dog to. So it's, that frame of time. It's all of that. Like, people don't think about the fact that it takes, you have to look at, like, it may not be 10 years, it may not be 15 years,
Yeah. Yeah.
but you have to give that animal the best
Yeah.
that you can
Commitment.
for as long as they are there. Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
And we don't know what that might be.
So the framework of legality
Yeah.
and the irresponsibility and lack of research before buying the animal, and also the fact that they don't think about the whole factor. It's just impulsive buying.
Yeah. Because they're cute. But we have had people who have bought Great Danes, and those are like very large breeds of dogs. And then they've said the dog got really big. But what were they expecting? Because the dog wasn't going to always
It's a
stay
great
small.
day.
It's a Great Dane. Um, we have had just so many different things, from like not understanding the type of even the breed that you're buying.
Mm.
Do they need space? Do they not need space? Do they need regular walks? Are they prone to skin conditions? All of those things. With Shopper, we got him, I told you, like we got him at about like maybe he was about a month, maybe 2 months when we got him. But he had also been bought by quite a young boy. I think he was maybe 18, 19.
Okay.
And he had spent a lot of money on this dog to initially buy him, because he had looked for, like there's like certain things where like imported dogs have like, big bone structures and things like that. So he had looked at all of that. But he had basically saved up all his money and bought this pup. Pup got sick. And he was like, I live really far away. Even to get to a closest vet, it's really difficult for me. Um, and when you ask about the plans as well, he was like, oh no, we have this little paved space where we can keep him. And I was like, okay, are you going to stay home for the next, are you going to be around? And he's like, no, I might have to go away for work, but my sister can manage.
No.
But his sister was like 14 or something. Is she going to be able to manage a full grown Rottweiler? Um, Living in a small space, so he's going to have more pent up frustration and stuff, and like he's going to need a lot more exercise. If you can't manage getting him to a vet at this 2-month age, how are you going to manage when he's 5, 6 years and the size that he is? So all of those things, it's just, he had researched one aspect of it and
But
not
not the
thought
other.
of the rest of it, which is a really common thing that we get.
Interesting. Right. And moving from why it happens to your message,
Mhm.
right? How you should be. Would you mind giving me a few words on how we should be responsible right now? We address the problem of why it happens. How do you think that we should do it?
Well, I think some of it comes from the fact that, so when I was a kid, I really didn't understand why my parents didn't want me to. I didn't have pets. I had one cat. That was it. And I didn't understand it at that time, but they were always like, for whatever reason, may not be that they were responsible pet owners per se,
Yeah.
or like fully conscious of that, but they did have this thing where they were like, look, we live in the middle of Colombo. There's no space and it's not fair. And we also can't put the time into looking after them. And they actually made me, like, it was only once um, I got married that I actually had a dog, because we moved out of that. I moved out of that house. And looking back on it, I really appreciate it now, because they taught me to kind of put someone else first.
Yeah. Then you.
Yeah, because I mean, I could have had a pet
Hmm.
at any point.
Okay.
They could have bought me, a dog and gifted it, and then the dog would have just been sitting in the middle of like a no garden space in the middle of Colombo, just doing nothing.
Okay.
And now having this many dogs and having had that relationship with the dog, I understand that, they are living beings themselves. And there's a lot that they need that we can't just provide on. So I think it's also a lot about kind of learning to regulate yourself and ask yourself those honest questions of, can you actually do this? Can you do it financially? Can you do it emotionally? Because I think that is where the responsible pet ownership part comes in. Like, is this something that things can be really great? The your dog's entire life, things can be really great. Can have a great birth, great, like passing a slow go pass in your sleep kind of. But it can be absolute hell as well. Like you can,
It can be quite the opposite.
yeah, at like, they break a leg or something happens, they get paralyzed for whatever reason, they start having seizures. Those are all things that can happen. Can you be there for that the same way that you can be there when they're cute and puppies and behaving and all of those things? Like, I think that is the question.
Makes sense. It actually does make sense. So put yourself behind the animal, and then I think consistent commitment is, in a nutshell, what we are trying to imply in this question or
Yeah.
portray. Lovely message indeed. Thank you so much for that. Right, we are moving across to the final segment, of course. No, before that, of course. Uh, breed fears and misconceptions. Now that you brought this beautiful thing to this vicinity, I had a fear of rotties because my cousin had a rottie and his dog bit him, right? I've been informed that they're unpredictable, right? And I've always had that fear of what if, you know, unpredictability is what I fear in terms of a dog. It's not the bite. I can handle a bite. I can handle everything else as well. But that unpredictability is something that I had a problem with. What are the misconceptions? Now, my problem is gone. My fear of touching a Rottweiler is gone thanks to you. And we are going to portray that as well as we go along. And many others in the vicinity. I don't know if you noticed, some of them directly approach the dog.
Yeah.
They don't have that fear. But many people came to us and asked, is it friendly? Can I take a picture? Right?
Yeah.
What are these misconceptions, Shilpa?
I think a lot of it, I mean, it's Rottweilers do have a particular personality.
Yeah. They're
And
working dogs, right?
they are working dogs. A lot of our breeds are working dogs, really. From a beagle to a golden retriever to a Labrador, they're all working dogs. They've been built a certain way for a certain purpose.
Yes.
And however much they're pets, they do have certain parts of that in them, and you have to work with those things. So, a lot of the times you'll have people say, my dog is really destructive. Uh, Beagles are one of those breeds that we see a lot where they're a smaller dog. So, people think that in an apartment or a small space,
Yeah.
beagles are great to have.
Yeah.
But beagles are hunting dogs.
Oh.
So they need a lot of, compared to a Great Dane, who can manage a smaller space and a shorter walk,
Yeah.
a beagle needs a lot more kind of work. They work in the sense that they need to have a lot more stimulation in terms of, actual active walks. It's not like letting them out in the garden and being like, he spends half an hour out there just doing whatever he wants.
Right.
It's you take them for an active walk because that's what they're used to doing.
Yeah.
And some of that is built into them, and that is why people are like, they're chewing our wires. But it's not the dog's fault. Like the dog has certain needs that are not being met.
Okay.
But also with your question about Rottweilers, I think we have this with Rottweilers. We have it with bullies.
Yeah. Bullies,
Yeah, we have it with Cane Corsos, Doggo Argentinos, German
Are there any
Shepherds.
Carnicos here? Have you?
Yeah, we've rescued a few, and
Oh.
we have them here.
Okay.
Doggo Argentinos, German Shepherds
Yeah.
was an older trend. Dobermans, they all have certain guarding and that kind of things built into them. So when we worked with Chopper, like Chopper was the first Rottweiler I think I've had.
Okay.
Um, but we worked with him very differently. Like we exposed him to things all the time in terms of we didn't go to the vet when he needed a vaccine only.
Yeah.
We went to the vet when we were passing. Sometimes we'd call them and be like, we're bringing Chopper in. Could we just have, the reception having biscuits and stuff for him and stuff, so that he didn't have anything negative happening. He just went into the vet, had a great time, and came back out. So even now, I think he's spent from the age of 2 to now he's 7. His last blood donation was maybe a couple of months ago.
Okay.
It was his last one, but
So he donates
'cause
blood.
he does.
What?
And he'll do it alone. He'll do it without me if he have to.
Wow.
So the reason is that he has such a positive experience with the vets that he's not afraid of it. He's not going to bite. We don't muzzle him. We don't do any of that with him at the vet. But it's because we did so much exposure with him. Like when he was little, he went to work with me. I used to run like a little store, like a eco-friendly store, and at that time he used to come to work with me every day, greet all the customers. He knew that when we go outside, people will come talk to him. He does school visits. So it's a lot of like I know what his behavior is like. I know when he's starting to get agitated, when he's starting to get tired. I can see that before it happens generally because I know him.
Mhm.
But also, I think we've exposed him to so much that that unpredictability that you were talking
Yeah.
about is. Having said that, like, we do have people who are like, "Oh, no, I know dogs. I'm just going to go and kiss every dog that I meet," and that is not
No.
even with Chopper.
Yeah.
I would say I am confident around him,
Yeah.
but I think even with him, people should ask, like, "Is this a dog that I can
Yeah. Yeah.
pet? Do you think it will be okay?" And at that time, I can say yes or no depending on how I think he's being, because if he is agitated, there is a chance that he might growl or something,
Yeah.
and that might make someone but as like someone fear
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
his kind of breed. But the other issue I think we have is Rottweiler. Unfortunately, like, we see a lot of younger male parts of the population that tend to buy these breeds because they talk a lot about bite force
Bite
and
force,
things
yeah.
like that, right?
When we were coming in,
Mm-hmm.
a bunch of, or not a bunch, a couple of people were talking about how fierce Chopper can be,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that is the reputation that we are trying to sort of shift the mindset.
Yeah.
Yes, they have that bite force. Yes, but are they going to bite everybody? Are they going to do that? What makes them do that,
Yeah.
right? So I think as long as we stay away from that lane, we are safe in that manner.
Yeah. I think it's just that some people tend to like buy. So you choose a Rottweiler, you choose a bully, you stick them in a cage, you put them in a space where, their lives are not like Chopper has a pretty full life. Like,
Yeah.
he goes home, he's never been in a cage, he's never been tied,
Mhm.
he's free to do whatever he wants to do.
Yeah.
He has certain guidelines when we go out that he follows, which makes things easier for both of us.
Yeah.
But it's things that we've communicated with him, and there's no frustration
Frustrating.
there.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
But when you've got a dog that is meant to do so much more, like, I mean, he has a lot of energy that he does go he takes down banana trees. Like, we've got a
What?
garden where he just like will snap them and pull them in. But that's his
Wait.
way of, getting his play. He plays with the other dogs. But he's got something to actually let his, I guess, his energy out on.
Yeah. You
Whereas,
have to disperse that energy.
yeah. Whereas if you have a dog that's sitting there that has never seen other dogs, that's only been to the vet where it's been a negative experience.
Oh, right, right, right.
Because, I mean, shots and things, those are people handle you. They will check, they will touch your stomach, they will vaccinate, they will do things like that. And it's not a positive experience if you're not used to it.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of that fierceness comes from that, where you don't, the anything that the dog is not used to regularly
Yeah.
is something that he's going to be suspicious of,
Yeah.
especially if it's like something that's painful at the end of it, or if your only vet visits have been.
Yeah. It makes
So,
sense.
yeah. And if you're sitting there frustrated, like, imagine if all you do is sit in a room other than for when you're taken out, and because you don't have any choice
Yeah.
on where you go, what you do, what you eat,
Makes
your
sense.
whole life is dictated, right? So
Sure.
I think that is where that it's that frustration and just a lack of knowing what.
What it is.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Thank you so much for that lovely answer,
Okay.
actually. All right, moving on. Dogs and cats, their emotional intelligence. I spoke to you about how Chop or Choppy looked at you and followed your commands more or less like a command,
Mhm.
but more like, okay, it's my choice to do so. He did explore around when you called him, but then again, he did come back to you. I think that's years and years of more or less training, but more of a way of living,
Mhm.
right? So, could you speak to me a few words about their intelligence, their emotional intelligence? Because people tend to misunderstand them for just animals. I think a wild animal and a companion pet is two different beings in terms of emotional intelligence. For any animal, for that matter, I've seen people tame crocodiles in their backyard in Florida, right? And I'm not talking about crocs at this point, but then again, about cats and dogs, their emotional intelligence. What do you think?
I think it's I think that measure of intelligence as well is something that perhaps we fit quite narrowly into what we understand it
Yeah.
to be, and we give it certain measures um based on our perception of it.
Yeah.
But like I said, like even the fact that we keep calling these animals, like we say, they are voiceless, I don't think that they are voiceless. I think they just communicate differently,
Yeah.
and we don't understand that, so we call it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
As in, this is completely my opinion. It's not like something that
No, no, no,
is
please.
proven or scientific or
Yeah.
anything like that. Yeah, in terms of intelligence, I think they have whole worlds that we don't necessarily understand. Like, simple things like when someone says, we always say, don't, when you're walking a dog, if they're sniffing around, let them sniff.
Okay.
Because what we experience and what they experience are different. Their sense of smell, their sense of hearing is because our world is a lot to do with our sight and, our
Sight and sound.
interactions and stuff, and, the fact that we can read and understand and whatever. But that's because we live in a world that's built for humans
Yeah.
and we have fashioned it that way.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that the dog is experiencing a lot more in terms of like smells and stuff. Their sense of smell is so much more heightened. They can tell, who's passed by this way before. What kind of, is it a female? Is it a male? What kind of dog might it have been?
Oh.
They have all of that they're trying to get through that, um, like through that sniffing.
Okay.
Whereas we are sort of like, may have been a dog here, may have not. I'm
Yeah.
just trying to get home to, go do the next thing that I need to do. For them, it's a completely different set of like things. And that intelligence is different, I think. It's not a lack of. I think it's just different.
Yeah.
And, there've been so many things of, a dog will, I mean, we have cats and dogs living together. We have had situations where we have some dogs that have like, at night, sometimes they go and like, we had this rescue that would sleep with three of the cats.
Yeah.
The cats would go like, and she slept in a separate room by herself. She used to actually sleep in my study.
Yeah.
So her bed is set down and stuff for her because she needs to go out and in
Okay.
frequently. Yeah. So we had her actually sleep there, and if her sleep time was 8:30, the cats would start, like there would be three cats that would go sit there near her bed by about, 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. So.
They'd be like, okay, we're waiting for you. And it was a relationship that they had.
Right.
And when she passed, like she passed last year, and when she passed, we still had this one cat that would still go and like sort of wait for her. And I think he grieved her for a long time.
Oh.
And that was completely their relationship. It had nothing to do with us.
Okay.
We set down the bed. We didn't ask the cat to go there. We didn't ask the dog to like, be okay with the cat. This is a dog that we got at like 4 or something years old.
Okay.
It's not a, a dog we've had as a pup. No. But they had their own relationship and they had their own world.
Okay.
And I think that says a lot about the kind of, intelligence that we have. We can't necessarily, we can't dictate all of it. Some of it is just observation.
Right. Moving on to a few of the personal experiences. Right. What has this journey taught you about humans, us? And what is your best rescue story that you have for me? You have to give me the details. Come on.
Oh boy.
This is not rapid fire. Rapid fire is next. Yeah.
Feels like from the pot into the fire. But yeah, I mean, I think 100% the craziest rescue stories I think have always been disaster rescues. It's something that we do a little outside of just the breed rescues. We do step in for certain disasters,
Like the flood.
mostly floods. So did what we did quite a lot.
Okay.
And we generally do. So we did 2016 floods. The organization wasn't even a thing at that point, yeah. But it's just something that we sort of got called. Like, I got a call, turned up somewhere, and spent the next 4 days in the water, kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, there's so like pretty much the 4 or 5 days that we spend doing that are always the craziest
That's one of the best
kind of. I
experiences.
mean, I don't know if it's best. It's just like absolutely crazy because you have to be a different person.
Okay.
Um, Almost it's a different set of rules. It's
Environment and then
100%,
and the time
yes.
is at the essence, I'm guessing. It's
Yeah,
insane.
and like your safety, the energy you expend, all of that. Because it's kind of first response, but not on the day of. We usually turn up like for Ditwa, it was after the winds and stuff had kind of died down. But the water levels
Levels.
were still going up. We end up in people's
Yeah.
houses, on boats. It's not things that we do
Yeah. You don't
frequently.
go to a house in a boat.
Yeah,
That's a sight to
you
see.
don't climb people's walls and things
Uh,
like that. Like it's
Spider-Man.
just, yeah. I mean, not that we are ever have. I don't think we've ever been inside a house,
Yeah.
unless someone calls and says you need to go and get my dog out of there.
Yeah.
But it's crazy because the animals are like they're stressed.
Yeah.
You're potentially putting a dog that has never swum in anything.
Water.
Yeah, we've carried like 50 kilo kind of Labradors over walls and
What?
things, and like
That
yeah,
weight
it's
is
just
heavier than 50. I know that for a fact
yeah.
when it's yeah.
So it is. I mean, it's a completely new thing, I think, for Sri Lanka that we have started doing this stuff, but it's an absolutely insane kind of experience.
Right. A side question. Dogs can swim, right? Are they
Yes.
natural swimmers?
Most of them, yes. We have seen some really bad swimmers though. Like we've had
Oh,
um I think a chocolate lab a few years ago where we needed to do hydrotherapy, and he wouldn't move. Like you put him in the water and he just would
drowns.
sink slowly, like just looking, blinking up at you, and you're like, what is happening? Do something. Yeah. Because that is your expectation that they would, start paddling.
Okay.
But not all of them do.
Oh yeah.
We had a retriever recently that like tried backstroke immediately. It's like, yeah, she just flipped over. Like, what are you doing?
That's a
So
retriever for you.
yeah, so not all of them
Okay.
but most of them do, yeah,
Uh,
do take to water quite easily. And I think in a difficult situation, most of them will
Survival
swim
instinct.
or like grab something, and yeah.
Makes sense. Right. Lovely. And we're gonna move across to your favorite part. Or should I say my favorite? Right. Rapid fire, ladies and gentlemen. Drum roll, please. You'll have to choose a choice for the most part.
Okay.
But if you can't, that's all right. Understandable. Try to do so.
Okay.
Right. The rapid fire begins right now. Dogs or cats?
Both.
Of course. Adopt or shop.
Adopt.
Okay. The most misunderstood breed.
Still think it's Rottweilers.
Rottweilers. Okay. One thing every pet owner must never do.
Oh, cage.
Caged.
Cage and tie, yeah.
Oh. So you believe that they should be in the house or backyard or what?
I think they should have some level of freedom.
Okay.
Um, because they can't really tell you that they want a burger for dinner. They can't really. I mean, there's very little freedom. So certain things like, would you like to go out
Mm,
or not, should at least be up to them.
lovely. One thing every pet owner should always do.
Ooh, it's a hard one. Um, I think focus on that bond. Like, always look to try and build that up because that's the most important thing.
Interesting. The most important lessons animal teach us. In one
Ooh,
sentence.
patience.
Patience.
Yes.
Oh, in one word. Ladies and gentlemen, Shilpa at work for you. All right. One word to describe rescue work. Let's go.
Ooh, hard.
Hard.
Yeah. It
Okay.
takes a lot out of you.
Wow. Okay. I did not expect that answer. I honestly did not. So much to learn. Right. The final question. If every pet owner is listening in and you could change one thing today with one message, what would it be, Shilpa?
I think it would be to understand, like, what we talked about, the having them that they have their own world. Like understand that this is, yes, someone that lives with you, someone that you make decisions for, but they have their own world and they have their own kind of life, and you have to respect that.
Right.
Um, and yeah, I think if it's that, I think everything feeds into that, from if you're choosing to buy, to adopt, to breed. If you're thinking a lot before you buy a dog or taking a dog, if you're not,
Mm.
all of that, I think, comes from that respect of another life.
Yeah.
Um, and when you really think about everything that you need as a person, um, your dog or your cat probably has, in different measures,
Mhm.
the same feelings and the same, kind of life, and what puts us above,
Them.
or yeah, or what gives us the right to have all of that, while we for dictate everything of that. Like when you breathe is literally the only thing some pets don't. Um, that some pets don't have someone telling them
Yeah.
what, like everything else, like even, going out to pee. If they are in a cage or something and they don't want to pee in there, they have to wait till you let them out. They have to hold it.
Yeah, they can't
Yeah, they can't
verbally
do
tell you.
anything else.
Yeah.
And if that is the relationship you have, then that is, that's everything. Imagine someone that's prison every day of your life. So I think it's just that respect.
Mm.
Like understand that this is something that is outside of yourself
So
as well. Like they have so much more than we sometimes understand.
they have their own world in
Yeah.
a nutshell. Thank you so much. That's a beautiful answer. That's a beautiful message, rather. Right. And I think we're going to conclude our little chat today. Like all good things, this also should come to an end. I think we had a very meaningful conversation.
Thank you so much for having me,
Oh, no,
and for
thank you.
like actually allowing me to.
Pass the
Sometimes I
message.
ramble, but yeah,
Oh,
it's
no,
just
no.
sorry.
You did really good. Right, Shilpa, thank you once again. All right. For first and foremost, being yourself and being a voice for those who cannot, in terms of our poor friends, because I own two dogs and I learned a lot from you today. And if anybody who's watching this today is gonna definitely learn a lot from this conversation, right? And the fact that you opened up a whole new perspective towards dogs and the rescue and about pre-owning a dog. Now, I've been meaning to get my partner a surprise dog as well, but I'll have to do a lot of thinking before that now. And also, finally, for making my fear of Rottweilers go away with Chopper.
That's all him.
Oh, no, no, no. Trust me. If you weren't there, Chopper wouldn't exist, right? So thank you once again for that. And do give my love to Choppy.
Yeah.
Right? And until we see each other again, ladies and gentlemen, once again, if you don't mind me, please speak about the page of yours before we leave.
Yeah. So the rescue is Tales of Freedom.
Tales of
Like
Freedom.
Tales as in dog tails, TAILS.
Tales.
Yeah.
Right.
And yeah, we're on pretty much everything: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, just everywhere. And we have our website, which is just talesoffreedom.org.
Lovely.
So yeah.
Right, so there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, Shilpa from Tales of Freedom. And this is her story. And in a nutshell, if you're misunderstood about a pet or a dog, or owning a pet or a dog, this, I hope, has been helpful. My name is Stryker. Thank you so much for hanging on with me and my lovely guest. Until we see you again on another episode, this is Legend Spotlight.